Hey, I'm Bill Burke, author of Scorpius Rex, here to share some fun factoids about the book. So here we go. First up, scorpions.
Okay, scorpions pretty much personify everything terrifying about nature, all rolled into one venomous package. But did you know that scorpions are actually pretty devoted moms? Yep. Just like the giant ones in the book, normal scorpions give birth to live young and carry them around on their backs. See, it's adorable, in kind of a nightmarish way. They cart the little tykes, or scorplings, around on their backs for about 2 weeks, unless they have trouble finding food. If that happens, mom just eats her toddlers. Oh yeah, just like in the book, scorpions are notorious cannibals. Something that's not in the book, but still weird enough to merit mention, is that at night, scorpions glow under ultraviolet light. This has something to do with why they're impervious to UV radiation. Even worse, they can take incredible doses of radiation with no ill effects. So, if we ever decide to reduce the world to a fallout-covered nuclear wasteland, guess we'll be just fine.
There's a bunch of unusual military equipment in the book that's specific to the African region, most of it manufactured in South Africa.
During the racist apartheid era, Western nations placed an embargo on arms sales to South Africa. But South Africa was also fighting against Soviet-backed countries like Angola, so they couldn't buy Russian weapons either. As a result, they developed their own armaments industry, manufacturing some very unique equipment. Quick note, the South African apartheid regime was a truly despicable white supremacist state, so don't confuse my complimenting their equipment with applauding their policies. If you're not familiar with the apartheid era, you really should read up on it and see just how wretched a government can be. And if you ever want to read a devastating satire of the apartheid era, check out Tom Sharp's Riotous Assembly and its follow-up, Indecent Exposure. Now let's get back to the weapons. The Rattle Tank features prominently in the book. During the South African Border Wars, also known as the Namibian War of Independence, South Africa needed to design a vehicle that could survive the rugged terrain and battle Soviet tanks. Here's a vintage propaganda video about their ingenious six-wheeled solution.
For this purpose, the South Africans have developed an incredibly versatile infantry fighting vehicle known as the Rattle, the Afrikaans word for the fiery little African honey badger of Robert Ruark fame. These vehicles, designed for mobile warfare, have proved adept at tackling most of the problems encountered in the kind of war in which the South Africans now find themselves, including the threat of enemy armor. It's no secret that during Operation Protea, Rattles, acting in concert with Eland armored cars, knocked out several squadrons of Soviet-built T-34 and PT-76 tanks without the loss of a single vehicle of their own.
Next up is the Mamba, which is a bit like the African Humvee, only more hardcore. I think it looks like an old-school 60s Range Rover on steroids. And, like a Range Rover, it was built for the African terrain. This heavily armored vehicle can drive over landmines without harming the troops inside, something Humvee manufacturers forgot about. These tough APCs have served across Africa and in Iraq. And if you're thinking it looks cool, where can I get a civilian version, a la the Hummer? Forget it. Aspera doesn't make one, plus it can only go about 60 miles an hour, so it's not much fun on the highway. But I bet people would get out of your way. The book has a lot of references to Vector rifles. Since 1980, Vector R4s, R5s, and R6s have been the mainstay of South African troops, along with many other African countries. It's a pretty hardcore weapon, but as you'll discover in the book, it can't take down a 10-foot Scorpion. For that, you'd need Dave Brank's signature Barrett 50 caliber rifle. This rifle is huge, weighing about 30 pounds. And here's the bullet it holds. This is a handheld cannon that can pierce armor, punch through an engine block, or be used as a sniper rifle. But unless you're fighting giant monsters or actually going to war, consider that it runs about $7,000. One of Scorpius Rex's most important characters isn't a person. It's a plane, namely an Antonov AN-24, affectionately named the Mayor Yarimbo. The AN-24 is a Soviet-designed aircraft built for military and civilian applications. It was put into commission in 1962, and like most Soviet-made products, it was built to endure Gulag-level punishment. The AN-24 could fly under severe conditions and take off and land on virtually any terrain. That's what made this aircraft so popular in Africa. Military forces in Angola, Ivory Coast, Ethiopia, Rwanda, and Tanzania all swore by this aircraft, and it's easy to understand why. This baby can carry cargo, passengers, livestock, paratroopers, fight fires, and be used as a crewed bomber. If your model came with the lower observation deck, it could even be converted into a gunship. That last application is particularly frightening, as the AN-24 was legendary for being able to fly incredibly slow at low altitude, allowing plenty of time to aim. It saw wide use in African conflicts, which is why you can still find wreckage scattered across the continent. Despite going out of production in 1979, there are still over 100 AN-24s in service, the bulk of them in Africa. Many are kept in the air using repurposed or hand-machined parts. So if you ever hitch a ride with an African relief agency or a missionary group, there's a pretty good chance you'll wind up sitting in one of these birds. Don't be nervous, it's just a Soviet-made plane that's older than your parents, held together with handmade parts.
Взлетать и садиться даже на размокших грунтовых аэродромах.
By the way, the plane in Scorpius Rex is named the Mayor Yarimbo in honor of one of Zimbabwe's national heroes. His birth name was Samuel Mamutsi.
Thanks for watching, and if you haven't read Scorpius Rex, you can get it on Amazon. There are more videos on my website, williamburkeauthor.com, along with articles and book excerpts. So please, check that out. Thanks!